In this video, we'll be looking into how many words you actually need to know in order to carry basic English conversations. The answer might surprise you. Hi there, welcome to Erin's English Corner. You might be thinking that the reason that your English is not fluent is because you don't know enough English words. After all, we often get stuck in English conversation because we don't know the English word for what we want to say, right? Although it's true that expanding your vocabulary is important, and the more you know, the better you understand and the better you can express yourself, you don't have to be a walking dictionary in order to carry a basic English conversation. It is said that we need 1,000 to 2,000 words to carry a basic English conversation and to understand everyday text, and 3,000 to 5,000 words for advanced conversations. In fact, the number of words that you actually need in order to carry a basic English conversation is surprisingly small. In this book, foreign TV shows are made of only 350 words. The author, Cozy, shares his findings by analyzing the famous American TV show, Sex and the City. He actually wrote out 12,088 words that were said in all 94 episodes from season 1 to season 6, 45 hours in total. And these are what he found. 7,162 words out of 12,088 words, which is about 60%, were only used once or twice. This made him wonder, do we need to know these low-frequency words? Or since they were only used once or twice, can we just ignore them? But even though they were only said once or twice, 7,162 words are a lot of words. So if we actually ignore all of them, can we still understand what's going on in the story? So he decided to find out about the ratio of 7,162 words in comparison to every single word said in the show. Now, 12,088 was the number that he got without counting the same word repeatedly. So when he counted every single word, every single time it was said, the number came out to be 294,586 words. Out of these 294,586 words, 5,188 words were said only once, which was only 1.9% of every single word said every single time in the show. That means in the show Sex and the City, the chance that you will come across a rare word like phalaenopsis is 1 out of 50. In other words, every 50 words, you will have one word you probably don't know. So what should we do? Should we spend time learning the least frequently used words? Or should we try to figure it out from the context when we come across a rare word each single time? Ideally, number 2 is a better option. After all, it's not realistic that we know every single word we see or hear. To be able to figure out the meaning of a word you don't know from its context is actually a very important skill. But what do we do when we really have no idea or clue what it means, even after we try to figure out from its context? Well, you can simply ask, what's that mean? Even native speakers often ask this question. So Cozy's conclusion from this particular finding are, you actually don't need thousands of words to carry basic English conversations. And you don't need to actually spend too much time on learning low-frequency words that you might only come across once or twice. So you don't have to sweat over these words. Just simply ask, what's that mean? When you really can't figure out what it means. Another thing he found was the words repeatedly used were all simple, easy words that we learned as a beginner. So from this, he had a hypothesis. Maybe we should focus on mastering these most frequently used English words and learn how to use them properly in English conversation rather than working so hard to add these rare words that are only said once or twice to our vocabulary banks. So he dug deeper to find out how many of these 12,088 words are actually high-frequency words that were used more than 10 times in the show Sex and the City throughout the whole 94 episodes. The answer is 1,896 words, which is 15% of the vocabulary in the show. And these words actually make up 92% of all the conversations in Sex and the City. His conclusion from this finding is, what we need to focus on is words used frequently in basic English conversations. It's only about 2,000 words, which matches the number commonly estimated by linguists, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video. But he didn't stop there. He further analyzed those 1,896 words that were frequently used more than 10 times. And he found out that within the 1,896 words, 335 words were used more than 100 times, and 49 words were used more than 1,000 times. 49 words that were used more than 1,000 times actually make up 50% of all conversations, and 335 words that were used more than 100 times make up 30% of all conversations. And together, 350 frequently used words make up 80% of all the conversations in the show. In other words, he concluded that in Sex and the City, from season 1 to season 6, 80% of all conversations were made of only 350 English words. Were you surprised by this number? Leave this emoji if you were. In our minds, we think we need to learn more vocabulary so we can hold English conversations. So we spend a lot of time trying to learn and memorize as many English words as possible, right? He also noticed that the most frequently used words in basic English conversations are easy and simple words we learn as a beginner. And these are the tendencies. Nouns and pronouns rank high, such as I, my, me, you, your, he, and she. Prepositions such as to, of, from, with, on, at, and 5W1H, what, who, when, why, and how are in the top 100 words. By the way, where was ranked 111th. Frequently used verbs that ranked high were words that we use to express our thoughts and feelings, such as know, think, want, and love, rather than verbs that show actions. This kind of makes sense because thoughts and feelings usually come before actions when you think about it. In conclusion, there is a common theme here. Did you notice it? The top 100 words all have something to do with me, which is actually a key to learning to speak English. But that's for another video. The important thing you need to remember is that the easy and simple words we learn as a beginner make up of 60% of all conversations, and they were the most frequently used words ranked in top 100 of all the words said in the show. So you might be thinking, this is true for Sex and the City, but what about other shows? So Cozy actually spent time analyzing another famous American show, Friends. He analyzed all conversations and every single word said in the show across the whole 10 seasons. As you can see, the same thing can be said for Friends as well. The 350 frequently used words make up 80% of all the conversations. In fact, the total number of words found in Friends was 15,000 words, which was more words than Sex in the City. Yet, as we can see from the chart, 81% of all conversations was made of 350 frequently used words. He also compared the most frequently used words, top 2,000, in both shows and found the 1,520 words were used in both shows, which means 76% of top 2,000 words in both shows are the same. By this, he was convinced that our focus should be on these most frequently used words. Learning to be able to use them properly in our communication is the key. In summary, what we learned from this analysis is to be able to carry basic English conversations is not as hard as we think it is. And focus on mastering frequently used words and don't sweat over occasional difficult words. This means you can carry basic English conversations even if you are just a beginner. So don't think that you don't know enough and therefore you have to study more or you have to wait to be able to speak English because you're not good enough. You can start using the easy and simple word that you know today and gradually build it up. Don't you think this is a wonderful news? I really hope that you felt encouraged by today's video, and I hope I haven't lost you with all these numbers. Comment below and let me know what you think. If you thought this was helpful, please make sure you like and subscribe and share as there will be more videos with tips and encouragement coming your way. I'm cheering you on. Let's keep moving forward. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, God bless.